So once I made a video, not even posted to this channel but to the old one, about how Blizzard have basically cut to the far left and one of the companies that are aggressively pushing this brand of politics. I might even upload it here at some point. Now, in that video, one gets the impression that Blizzard are progressive, that they care about people's rights and representation and want to do good in the world. After all, their motto is, think globally, and that every voice matters. Well, unfortunately, my progressive friends, Blizzard are not very progressive. Indeed, like any corporation whose primary goal in life is to make money, Blizzard wants to make more money. That's why they push your politics, that's why characters are written and designed, whether before or tacked on afterwards, in your progressive image. That's why they market, at least in the West, towards you. To make money, so you buy their games and merchandise. They don't actually care about your worldview, they don't really care about your issues, it's just dollar signs that they see, and I think nothing exposes this more than the recent Blitzchung scandal. So for those who perhaps are still not in the know, I will give the context. Basically, Blizzard has been attempting to crack the Chinese market. This is why they announced the mobile Diablo game. Mobile gaming is huge in China, the biggest gaming market out there. As we know, that particular market involves hundreds of millions, potentially billions of dollars to these corporations. It's why Hollywood is partnering with Chinese studios and distributors, and the gaming is doing it too. Now that is partly due to Chinese law, but I'll get into that. But you can see why they would be willing to get in bed with Chinese firms to make money. The possibilities are almost endless when it comes to making money. Unfortunately, this comes with caveats. Western companies have to conform to China's cultural standards and ways, which means Disney has to move John Boyega from the centre of its Star Wars movie posters, like he usually is in the West, and put him in the background, and even lighten his skin colour. Black people aren't well liked in China, allegedly. This means that to prevent harming their sensibilities, Western corporations have to conform to things they would not conform to over here. Such progressivism! And Blizzard, likewise, have had to remove all black characters from Diablo 3, so no witch doctor character for China. Now, what about partnering with Chinese companies? Well, you see, they have to partner with them, because it's the law. The only way a foreign company can make money in China is to partner with a Chinese company and gain the license to trade and do business in the country. Therefore, we see Hollywood studios partner with Chinese studios like Legendary and Blizzard and Creative Assembly with NetEase. They have no choice but to do so. Moreover, these companies are not private companies in the way that a company like Blizzard or Creative Assembly are, whereas the former are owned by another private entity and form a conglomerate. The Chinese companies are actually owned by the state. Basically, there is no such thing as private property, private enterprise, private anything in communist China, save perhaps two areas. The state de facto owns everything. They subsidise anything they want and can end these private companies or do anything to them if they want to. Hence, Blizzard is not necessarily partnering with NetEase, Hollywood studios aren't necessarily partnering with Legendary, but with the Chinese state itself. That is why Blitzchung doing what he did was so wrong. So what did he do? Why this long bout of context before more context? Well, now you understand why the events that follow happened. Blitzchung is a competitive Hearthstone player and had just won a competition in Asia. He wore a gas mask and then declared, when asked to speak about his win, this.
你就讲完那8个字，然后打波我们就结束，我们就什么也都不要聊了。然后你随时可以开始，头先低下来。
光复香港，时代革命。
Now what that translates as is liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our age. This, as you can see, the hosts were scared. They didn't want anything to do with this because they knew what was going to happen. They knew Blizzard would crack down hard because money could well be lost by insulting NetEase and by proxy, the Chinese state. Blitzchung did not receive his prize money and was banned for a year. The two hosts were also suspended for 6 months for doing, well, nothing. What could they do? Now, Blitzchung was banned because he had violated Blizzard's terms of service. Basically, he had caused offence to a group or portion of society, paraphrasing, and therefore had to be banned. Moreover, it was bringing politics into the sport, and Blizzard could not allow that. Of course, that's a very nebulous rule to break regarding offence. Offence is, well, nebulous. But it's hypocritical, because Blizzard have regularly made political statements, especially against Trump and in their games. They have projected themselves as a progressive company for social justice. But at the same time, esports players playing under the Blizzard name cannot make political statements. Personally, I think if that is meant to be a rule, then the company itself should be beholden to it, but it's okay when they do it. But of course, the hypocrisy does not end there. In another live-streamed event, a Western team held up a pro-Hong Kong placard. Blizzard instantly pulled the plug on the feed, but what happened to this team? People expected that these Westerners would be banned too. But since it wasn't anywhere near China, Blizzard did jack shit. So it's okay over here, but not over there. Again, we can see the obvious financial motivations behind all this. The team in question, if I remember correctly, won the competition, and they and their university, I think, declined to take the prize or to continue the competition and forfeited out of principle, embarrassing Blizzard. Blizzard was remarkably quiet until recently, hoping that all of this would blow over. There was already boycott Blizzard hashtag campaigns all over Twitter. I don't think Twitter was even able to silence them for very long either, but the Chinese wing of Blizzard, or at the very least NetEase, did release a statement which was very suspect. Firstly, it was claiming that what Blitzchung did was outrageous, and that it was justified in banning him, and that they apologised for offending the people of China. Now, considering this was done by a partner of Blizzard in China that they have to use to do business over there, this can be considered representing Blizzard. More proof that they have to kowtow to China to make money, that it's not about principle and being progressive. In fact, things got so bad that now even disgruntled Blizzard employees were staging walkouts and defacing the company statue. Gamers, pro-Hong Kong activists, etc. then came up with a genius move to use Mei, the Chinese character in Overwatch, as a symbol for the struggle, using memetics to co-opt it. It's not enough to stage a boycott to attack Blizzard. Even though their stock fell by 2% in a little over 1 or 2 days, quite significant, they quickly overcame it. What would hurt them more is co-opting things like Mei, things the Chinese love, and use it against them. Blizzard could end up being forced to remove the character, hence losing out on microtransactions and merchandise in China, or outright having to be forced to remove the game if the Chinese government tells them to, hitting Blizzard at their bottom line in a brilliantly unorthodox way. Blizzard then finally released a statement. To call it dishonest is an understatement. They claimed the banning of Blitzchung was not about politics at all. It was just about upholding the rules, you see. He was being divisive. They have since, to their credit, released the money to him, and his ban has been reduced. Nobody, however, bought the line that had anything to do with politics. You don't ban someone who says something like that so harshly if it did not have the potential impact to harm your business in China. Moreover, it doesn't exactly contrast well with that NetEase, or is it Blizzard's Taiwan studio, were saying on Chinese social media either. Blizzard is assuming that gamers will be dumb enough to take their word for it and continue consuming. Unfortunately, it did not work. So what about BlizzCon? So many things could happen. We already heard about a planned protest for Hong Kong, and we can be damn sure certain members of the audience will attempt to confront Blizzard at the Q&A session. Perhaps Q&A will be scrapped this year, who knows? Blitzchung himself responded with gratitude that his money was given to him and that his ban was reduced, though that's not stopped the hurt from continuing, as one of Blizzard's casters, Nathan, that's admirable, Zamora, resigned in protest. I think this whole debacle has woken up a lot of people about the China question. The Chinese, as Mark Kern said in an interview with Jeremy from The Quartering, said the CCP are trying to dominate the world by controlling media, biotech and trade, and I think maybe one other aspect. The reason why they are forcing Western companies by law to partner up with their state-sanctioned entities is so they can sink their talons into Western media and perhaps even more. Why do you think in countries throughout the West, Chinese businesses are buying land, companies, and building over here? It's economic imperialism. It's what all empires have done. The British and Americans did it. The Romans even did it. And the Chinese themselves have done it in the past too. It's a very good strategy. You can become stronger by dominating the enemy's media and other branches of society and become world hegemon by indirect means. However, just because they've been able to do this does not mean they are all powerful. They aren't. It's just smart. China mainly relies on the projection of strength as opposed to actual strength. Their economy is not actually that powerful and has been buckling due to the trade war and the financial difficulties the world has been facing for years. Their extensive growth since the late 80s has been running out of steam and collapse is likely. They know they can't win a trade war with the US, so they have to try other means to compete and make money to bolster their ailing economy, hence controlling Western private enterprise. They can easily bully a small island like Hong Kong, but actual great powers like the US, India, hell even my country, the UK, not so much. It's why I think the deafening silence, especially from the United Kingdom, has been so bad. We've been appeasing China for nearly 50 years. It started with Nixon and Kissinger visiting China to split them off from the Soviet Union. It continued with Western industry being moved to China throughout the 90s and 2000s because of the mistaken Friedmanite belief that if we continue to further liberalising them, they would become just like us, when really it's just become socialism with Chinese characteristics. We've weakened ourselves, and for a while at least, strengthen China. I don't know what the future will bring. I don't know if Western countries will actually take a stand and support Hong Kong, or allow a second Tiananmen Square to happen. I don't know if China will become the world hegemon, or at least on par with the United States, like the USSR was. All I know is the Cold War never ended. All we have now is a new competitor. But, at the very least, I can end this video on a funny note because we all know
China is asshole!